All right, well, lawyers for IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley say that the Justice Department officials meddled with the Hunter Biden investigation.
And more email revealing the first son's relationship with officials from former President Obama's State Department did exist. Mark Meredith is live at the White House with more about email and more about Hunter.
Steve, Brian, and Rachel, good morning to all three of you. This morning, we are learning some new details about what was going on behind the scenes at the Department of Justice after an IRS whistleblower came forward alleging federal prosecutors were giving first son Hunter Biden some special treatment. An attorney representing Gary Shapley, who you may remember testified before Congress earlier this summer, says after his client raised concerns, the Justice Department reached out not only to them, but also to lawyers for Hunter Biden. Attorney Mark Little telling the New York Post, quote, "After our client offered whistleblower testimony to Congress, Lisa Monaco's right-hand man, Bradley Weisenheimer, scheduled a meeting with Mr. Biden's defense counsel to appeal over the head of Mr. Weiss in a way that was totally at odds with the narrative that David Weiss was acting independently." Now, Weiss, who is the U.S. attorney out in Delaware, appointed by former President Trump to oversee the Hunter case, has denied any wrongdoing, and he's now acting as special counsel in this investigation. Meantime, America First Legal, which is an activist group founded by former Trump aide Stephen Miller, says through Freedom of Information Act requests, it's discovered how often Hunter Biden would interact with then Vice President Biden's office. They tallied it up. The group says records show during the Obama-Biden years, at least 800 White House emails reference an investment firm that Hunter co-founded. And you can see also emails released by the White House totaling some 200. Some emails even to show how close the relationship Hunter Biden had with then Secretary of State John Kerry. There's an email which shows that Secretary Kerry was working to make himself available to a class at Georgetown that Hunter Biden was teaching. Now, the emails America First obtained basically show a lot of scheduling requests, asking for tours to like the White House Christmas party, stuff to that effect. But for lawmakers, this may raise fresh questions about what was happening behind the scenes and whether or not first son Hunter Biden and then Vice President's son Hunter Biden was using his dad's connections too far. Guys, back to you.
Mark, as you know, John Kerry's son was a partner, and for some reason he decided, I don't want to be with that company anymore. I'm wondering if there's a story there.
Well, Secretary Kerry, of course, is still very much in the orbit here of the Biden administration, even though he's no longer Secretary of State. Whether or not, though, that these emails will shine necessarily any major repercussions out of Congress is yet to be seen. But they've still been trying to say, we want to hear more from what Gary Shapley had to say behind the scenes. But the other X factor in all this, now with the special counsel, it's hard to imagine we're going to get answers really anytime soon. Instead, it feels like this is going to dredge on for quite a bit longer.
Yeah, and you know, Mark, it looks like, and you read this story, Daily Mail's got it right now. They've got some exclusive details. It looks like, and Politico got an email that they got Shapley's attorneys to respond to. It looks like Hunter Biden had the sweetheart deal. It was going to happen until these whistleblowers showed up and spilled the beans on television. Next thing you know, the DOJ is doing a 180, and then the special counsel comes in. And now, you know, all bets are off. And it looks like even though David Weiss said, the U.S. attorney, now the special counsel guy, even though he said, you know, I'm not the decider. OK, I am the decider. He's the guy who's supposed to decide whether or not to do something big against this first son.
Well, and Steve, as you know, David Weiss now says that they are going to go to trial at this point, but it's also possible a deal still could be reached. Just because they're going to trial now doesn't mean something couldn't change in the future. But for the first son, you have to imagine, though, how long this legal process is going to be drawn out for. And is it possible that if the longer it goes on, maybe it would be beneficial to him? We just simply don't know at this point. But again, I think, Rachel, the question that so many of these lawmakers are going to be asking is they want to hear from Weiss directly. Yeah. And we still don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon.
Or Eric Sherwin, too. Also, Tony Bobulinski's getting queued up.
And
he's probably going to go.
And Brian, there's still talk up on the Hill that they're going to subpoena members of the Biden family. We haven't seen a list of who that would be yet, but you'd have to imagine it would be a pretty long list.
I did not know it was Professor Hunter.
Yeah.
I read George.
Maybe starting with Jill and Joe, because they had keys to the Rosemont Seneca office that was shared by a Chinese energy executive with ties to the Chinese government.
You know,
wow.
I think Peter Doocy actually asked about that question, and they said they never went to the office.
We're going to continue this conversation on the Mark
He
Meredith
also said he never had any business with Hunter Biden, but there's 800 emails emails now between Rosemont Seneca.
Just a second. Mark,
Yeah,
you can
and a lot of those emails have to do with, from what they say,
Right.
from the records they've obtained regarding, scheduling. Can we get this? Can we get that?
A little
But it does
innocuous.
raise those questions about what was happening behind the
Sure
scenes.
does.
All right. If you want to go get brunch, Mark, you can. We wore you out.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
Sorry about
Appreciate
that.
it,
That's
Brian.
great.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.